Kratz, you know what I forgot to say yesterday to AJ?
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
You know, I'm okay with it right now.
Oh, it's still okay?
Because you know what? I was gone for a while.
Okay.
So now, you know, it hasn't really hit me yet. You have till the end of the week. So get all your Happy New Year's in. After Friday, it's all over.
End of the week?
Wow.
Yeah, I'll give you the end of the week because there's people I haven't seen.
I'm still jet lagged.
No, I don't really get jet lagged.
Jan 9.
I can sleep anywhere, huh?
So we're good till January 9th?
Yeah, because I didn't get back till the 4th. So, you see?
The 5th Monday, yesterday, was the first day for some coming
back to work.
We were
That's what
Friday
I'm saying. And
for
I haven't
others,
seen everybody, and I haven't talked to a lot of people. So now I'm running into people that I hadn't seen. So now it's still, hey, Happy New Year. I hope your New Year's going well. Hope you had good holidays, Merry Christmas, all that stuff.
Let's rewind the tape. Let's rewind the tape and see if 2025 AJ was feeling the same way. Tanzania might have all that elevation change. I think might have loosened you up a little bit. I like it.
Think that it's, you know, it's. I'm okay with it. It's still in Happy New Year. You
We
got
caught
till
a
Friday.
year,
At
right.
Friday, shit's over.
Yep. We caught a year where
It just lined up right. If January 2nd, then you would have had till the end of that Friday, which would have been like the 6th. So that would have been it.
we got
This
a few
year you got
extra
lucky.
days
You got
out
till
of
the
you.
9th.
Wow. This is like Groundhog's Day when you get up and you're like, oh, Pierzynski says Friday, Jan 9. This is going to be a good year. 2026 is going to be a good year.
I feel
We
like
got
I'm
an
already
extra
behind.
days. Happy New Year.
I feel like I'm already behind on my Christmas shopping because of how the year ended and the 9th. Now I can say Happy New Year's. Now I got time to just AJ just put a lot on me. I gotta take a break.
Yeah. Okay. Well, while you do that, there's one other thing I want to throw out there before we begin with news. I just want to keep reminding everyone what we're doing in a few weeks. BBWAA Awards Gala includes Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens, and many more on the dais accepting their awards that they won. Those announcements were in November, but the big part of what happens here is when they show up, they take the photos with the awards, and we'll talk to whoever wants to talk to us. Last time we spoke to most award winners, and we will certainly send out those requests and ask them, or AJ will just go up to them. Saturday, January 24th, we'll give you more details as we get closer, and you can still get tickets online too if you're trying to go in person. Oh, one other announcement, please, before we begin. So we have 4 guests today, and one of our guests is going to be former Angel Mark Trumbo. Do you guys know why Trumbo is joining us today?
I do.
Yes?
Halo.
Because we have Halo territory.
That's right. Halo territory is here. It's a show dedicated to the Angels. The graphics are fantastic. Do you like those graphics? How good is that? With the
Great
sky behind it, the clouds, Mike DiGiovanna and Mark Trumbo, part of Halo territory. They'll have some special guest contributors too. It is the newest show on the Foul Territory Network. Everyone in the FT fam, you know what to do. Even if you hate the Angels, and you shouldn't because they've suffered for a long time, go give that show a sub on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts as well.
I can't wait for Mark Trumbo because I have a story that I want to ask him about.
Okay.
I hope he remembers it because he probably won't remember it, but it was one of those stories that people will think, well, that's kind of a dumb story. But for a former catcher, it was kind of a funny story.
He's pretty sharp. I mean, I listened to the first show, so I think he might remember it. It sounds like he's the kind of guy that remembers the specific at bat from the random day in the random game. So maybe he does remember it. Maybe.
He'll probably remember this.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll talk to him later.
You said if you hate the Angels, you can follow. What if the Angels hate you? Is AJ allowed to follow?
Yes, still can follow. Many Angels fans still hate me, and I'm all over that show. I'm watching, I'm listening, so you can't stop us. You can't fight love. Love always wins, Kratz. Let's charge.
Charging the mound.
We're going to start with rumors since there were no signings over the past 24 hours. So I think this is the next signing that happens. We learned from the New York Post that there has now been a second offer made to Cody Bellinger from the Yankees.
What are we looking for?
I don't know what the number is, but a second offer to Belly. Sometimes, you know how teams negotiate against themselves? I'm not saying they are, but it does appear as if the Yankees want him more than anyone else.
Well, he fits the most with the Yankees.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he was there. He proved he could play there.
Mm-hmm.
His dad was a Yankee. It makes total sense.
They need to be more athletic, right?
He fits that bill. He can play first. He can play the outfield if Grisham doesn't have a year that Grisham had last year, right? I mean, he fits perfectly. They obviously lost Goldschmidt, so they need someone to play first, if Ben Rice or him or whoever it is.
I think they're going to give Rice every day.
At first?
Or as much as possible.
Where's Bellinger play?
Outfield.
Okay, so left?
Yeah.
Because Grisham's in center, Judge is in right. So then what do you do with Dominguez?
Well, Dominguez or Jones could get traded. You know what I would do?
But here's my thing about that.
I would trade one of them for a pitcher.
I would too. But who did we have on yesterday?
Chris Kirshner.
And what'd he say? They're not trading him. And if they trade, especially Dominguez, if they trade Dominguez, people will be up in arms about it.
Would they?
I don't know. I think because he's been so hyped for so long, he's still only 22 years old. Yankees would be hesitant to trade him because, God forbid, if he went somewhere else and they let him play a different position or figured out something, because he was not good in left field. I'm sorry. He wasn't. Right? But if they put him in center where he came up playing and he actually became something, then Yankee fans would be like, why'd you trade him for that? You know, so I don't know. And Spencer Jones has kind of lost a little bit of his prospect clout.
He hasn't even come up yet.
Yeah, but his strikeout numbers are so outrageous.
Judge struck out a lot. Not like this, but remember Judge's first, month or two in the bigs? And he just struck out half the time. And then people were like, I don't know, this guy's too big and blah, blah, blah. He's not going to be able to
and now he's a Hall
make
of Famer.
Consistent contact. And now he's a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, Kratz, if it's me, I'm signing Belly and I'm trading Dominguez for a pitcher like Edward Cabrera.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and tell me if you guys agree with me or not. Cody Bellinger isn't just the best fit for the Yankees. He might be the best value out there on the market. He's the guy that you can plug in at center field, left field, first base. And I think there's a lot of teams that need athleticism. They want a left-handed hitter. I think he offers more than the other guys that are out there on the market. Is Kyle Tucker a better offensive piece? Yeah, I would agree with that. But Cody Bellinger is... I think, yes, we're saying it's the Yankees, and yes, I think he will sign with the Yankees because I think they will get the last offer. I don't like the wording of second offer out. Like it sounds like they made one offer and then we don't hear anything from Cody and then there's another offer. To me, it should be a counter offer would be the wording. If Cody's like, no, this is what I want, Yankees say, okay, well, this is what we're going to go ahead and do. But to me, I think it's the Yankees or nothing, but I also think other teams should be in on Cody. He's proven that he settled into his big league career after that tough front shoulder when you swing injury that he sustained in the 2020 World Series.
He is going to get less than Kyle Tucker, although I can't say that for sure. The Kyle Tucker market has been pretty mysterious, but at least in terms of the ask, right? If I had to guess what the goal is for each player, they're very far away, right? You would think heading into the offseason, Kyle Tucker's camp is like, we're getting 350, 400 mil.
Yeah,
and
they're talking about
camp's
400 million.
Right. And Bellinger's camp's like, we're getting 150 to 200 and we'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
That's half.
Yeah.
So that's where
right
you can
now
see
it looks
value.
like, I mean, Cody Bellinger might figure it out, but right now it looks like neither one of them is going to get close to that from the numbers we're hearing.
We don't know.
I mean, we don't ever know, but like the way teams are talking and the way these insiders, these so-called insiders are saying, it doesn't seem like either one of them is going to get close to what. Maybe Cody Bellinger gets a little closer to 150-ish.
You want to know my guess? So I think that the Yankees have a number on Bellinger over a certain amount of years, and then they're going to do the DJ LeMahieu and add a year or two to make it work for luxury tax purposes, because Hal and many others are sick of giving all the money to the same few teams that don't spend it. So let's say in their mind it's 150, or let's even just say 180, 180. They're going to try and throw like 180 at him. Be like, dude, you'll be at the end of your career anyway. Yeah. Sometimes you do buyouts at that point, right? Can we do 180 so that it stretches the number out? So that's what I think's going on right now, and they're going back and forth about it.
And does he really fit anywhere else? I mean, I'm sure he does.
He fits in many other spots.
But he's the one guy the Yankees need like that. He seems like he's a perfect fit in the Yankees.
I agree.
Like Juan Soto was that one year when he got traded over there. He was like the perfect fit. Cody Bellinger, especially after what he did last year, just seems like a really good fit with the Yankees.
I think the Yankees want to get going with the rest of their plans, Kratz. So I think they're trying to get this done this week. So I think this is the next shoe to drop.
Who do they turn to? Who do they turn to if they don't get Cody? And that's why I think Cody's biggest bargaining chip is, other than the fact that I believe he fits on so many other teams that I think he will have other options. But who do the Yankees pivot to if they don't get Cody Bellinger? I mean, Aaron Boone said the other day, we love our roster. We really love our – okay. You loved your roster with the best year ever from Trent Grisham. You loved your roster with the fact that Cody Bellinger was giving a little bit of protection to Aaron Judge, who had one of his best years ever. Ben Rice, is he going to do like, you do have to bring somebody in, because if you don't sign Cody, you have to replace that.
Yeah, and remember at some point when someone threw out there Kyle Tucker as the backup plan? I'm like, whew, that's a tough backup plan. That's you can't figure out numbers with Cody, but then you're going to figure out numbers with Kyle? I mean, let's bring in Ken right now to talk about it first. Let's get FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal's take on this. Ken, your thoughts on Cody Bellinger and the Yankees as a fit, and maybe as something that could happen soon so that the Yankees can get going with the rest of their offseason?
I don't know about soon. I never kind of predict timelines, especially with Scott Boras clients, because Scott Boras is not afraid to drag this thing out. He will act when he thinks it is appropriate, and certainly it could happen this week or at any time. And I appreciate what you're saying, Scott, about the Yankees getting on with the rest of their offseason, but I kind of go back to what Erik was just saying there about what's their alternative. And I think AJ mentioned this too. That to me is the real question. They can trade for a starting pitcher. They can work on the bullpen and do all those things regardless of what happens with Bellinger, whether it's this week or 3 weeks down the line. But my question is, if not Bellinger, what's the offensive player you're going to get to replace him, or who is that player? And I don't know the answer to that. Kyle Tucker, as you guys just mentioned, is a much more expensive, most likely addition. Bo Bichette is not really a fit with their roster. Bregman is not really a fit with their roster. So who is that hitter if not Bellinger? Now, things happen in the offseason and at the deadline all the time that surprise us, that we don't see coming because teams have other moves planned. Let's say the Yankees, for instance, can find a spot for Jazz Chisholm and they want to play Bichette at second. Okay, that's one scenario, and it's one of 100 in all of these circumstances. So I don't know exactly what's going through the minds of the Yankees, but your general premise, the premise of everybody on the panel this morning is, hey, if not Cody, then who? And that to me is a very fair question.
Can you clarify something with the wording? It said second offer was made to Cody Bellinger. Does that mean it was a counter offer? Does that mean it was Cody said, okay, I take your first offer. This is what we want. Here comes our counter offer. Or is this a second offer because he didn't respond because he changed his phone number on the first offer?
I don't know, Erik. And that's a very fair question. Certainly, it's one of two things, right? As you just laid out. It's either Boras countered and the Yankees came back with something else, or the Yankees simply increased their initial offer. And either way, they're still not there. They're still not at a point where Boras, at this point of the offseason, January 6th, is ready to take whatever the Yankees have offered. Now, the clock is running, and it's got another month or so to go before teams start getting together for spring training. We're not at an urgent point in these talks with any of these players. There's no deadline in the offseason, as we've discussed many times before. But this whole scenario, and it's not just Bellinger, it's Bellinger, Bregman, Bichette, Tucker. They're all intertwined in many ways because many of the same teams are involved with these players. And it just seems that it's one big stalemate right now, a stalemate that can break at any time, but hasn't yet.
Okay, let's hit the fancy animation and hit the rest of the league. Okay, Ken, you put out a lengthy notes column with Will Salmon about where we stand with a number of teams. And one part that stood out to us was when you got into the Blue Jays and how the Okamoto signing could fit if he does work out at third base. The name that I'm circling in your column was Ernie Clement, superstar in the postseason. But could he be kind of pushed out of a regular starting spot?
Only if they re-sign Bichette, which in my opinion is increasingly unlikely. So if they sign Bichette or Bregman, and I don't know that they're going to do Bregman. Bregman doesn't seem to fit right now for the Blue Jays. But if they re-sign Bichette and you have Okamoto at third, Bichette at second, then where does Ernie Clement play? But I don't see that necessarily happening. I kind of see Okamoto being the third baseman primarily, as long as they believe he can play that position, and he is thought to be at least average there. And then Clement plays second, and the big move, it would seem to me, is Tucker for them, if they can somehow get to a financial point with him that they're comfortable with. So yes, there is a scenario in which Ernie Clement would be at least squeezed for playing time, but it's only, in my opinion, if Bichette comes back.
Okay, Ken, let's talk about another team in the division that used to cover a lot, the Orioles. Are they done? Because they've made some big moves. Pete Alonso and Eflin coming back and Helsley and all these moves that they're making. But are they done? And I think they need to add at least one more starting pitcher to this mix that's a veteran guy that they can trust.
AJ, that's exactly where they are with this. And in that article I wrote with Will, we quoted an executive as saying they view their rotation as adequate. Well, adequate is not necessarily where they want to be. It's not where they want to be. Now, they're in a good spot right now, a much better spot than they were. It's Trevor Rogers, Kyle Bradish, it's Shane Baz, it's Zach Eflin, it's Dean Kramer, right there. That's what you have. And you have Tyler Wells in the mix as well, and some others. Okay. But what you're saying is exactly what they seem to believe, that they need one more that they could fit toward the top of their rotation. So who are we talking about? Framber Valdez or Ranger Suarez are the two leading free agents, both left-handed, both would fit really well in Baltimore. And then the trade possibilities that are out there. Freddie Peralta is one. Edward Cabrera is one, and the Orioles have been linked to him before. And there are others as well, Mackenzie Gore. So I don't know exactly how they're going to get this player or who it's going to be, but they believe that they have still the prospect depth to make another trade for a starting pitcher, even after giving up the 5 players they did for Baz. And then at that point, if they get the next starter, the other starter, then they would be, in their minds, more complete. They'd still like to do some stuff in the bullpen, like every team, it seems. They still would like additional depth in center field if they can find it, but the starter is their primary focus right now.
Let's go to AJ's favorite team, the Cubs. Are they going to be as aggressive as they were last offseason in the sense that they went out and got Kyle Tucker? Is there a move like that? Because clearly they've just shown they're just in on free agents. Unless you're a reliever, they're just in on free agents, and they haven't pulled the trigger yet.
Well, from a trade standpoint, Erik, I don't know who the hitter would be to equate with Kyle Tucker from last offseason. I don't know that player is out there, but there are free agents out there. And then the question becomes, okay, Cubs, you're in on everybody. Are you going to sign one of these guys? And remember, last offseason, they were in on Bregman, didn't get him. And they seem to be one of these teams that sets a boundary for where they're willing to spend and will not exceed that. And maybe their boundary is even lower than some other clubs that are in the mix. So you see the names right there. Would some of these players fit for the Cubs? Oh, yes, they would. Mr. Bregman is a guy that they are interested in and would really fit nicely there. They could perhaps move Shaw to second, trade Nico Horner, make Shaw a utility guy. There's a lot of things they could do with Alex Bregman in their mix, but they clearly need one more bat at least, and they can do some other things as well. A starting pitcher is something that they certainly have been looking for. So the Cubs are one of a number of teams, a number of big market teams that we still see out there as not even close to done. I would put the Mets in that category. I would put the Yankees in that category. The Cubs, certainly. I don't know that the Dodgers are done, and I don't know that the Phillies are done, particularly if they lose JT Realmuto somehow. So again, there is a lot in play right now, and it's January 6th, and it's surprising to me how much uncertainty there is. But at the same time, as we follow offseason after offseason, maybe we shouldn't be surprised. This seems to be the normal pace.
You forgot the Red Sox, Ken, that haven't done much.
I did forget the Red Sox.
In the free agent market. Now, they made some trades for Sonny Gray and Wilson Contreras.
No, but certainly they're not done, AJ. They need one more bat. Yes.
Exactly. So here's my question. You brought him up earlier, and we've discussed him with Jim Bowden yesterday, and we talked about him a lot. Freddie Peralta for $8 million. The Orioles, you mentioned him with the Orioles. The Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, all these teams, like pretty much every team except the Brewers would take Freddie Peralta at 1 year, $8 million. Where do you think he ends up, and what kind of haul can he get?
Well, the Brewers would take him at 1 year, $8 million too.
Well,
and
yeah.
They're comfortable with him in that salary range. And actually, while all the big market teams seem to be in on him, there are small market teams as well that can certainly afford Freddie Peralta at $8 million and are at least in contact with the Brewers. I would expect that if he is traded, and I do believe he will be traded, I said that on Fair Territory yesterday, I believe, then they will get in excess of what they acquired for Corbin Burnes. And remember, that was Joey Ortiz, who was their starting shortstop last year, admittedly not a good offensive player. DL Hall, a lefty with still some promise, and a draft pick that has not panned out for them just yet. But the reason Peralta is even more attractive than Burnes, he might not be quite as accomplished, of course, but he's making half as much money as Burnes was. And at the end of the season, if you like him, you can hit him with a qualifying offer and then get one of the prospects back as draft pick compensation. So maybe he won't get as much as Burnes. Maybe I overstated that, but I can see where he could bring them even more. And the price of the salary, the cost is the reason for that. He's so much cheaper and you do get the pick back. So that was the case with Burnes too, but I just think that Freddie Peralta, if he goes, he's going to go for a nice haul for the Brewers.
Ken, I don't know if you use memes when you send text to people, but the meme where the guy's just eating popcorn, is there more of a apropos meme for the Mets? Like, everybody just wants to see what the Mets are doing because they didn't sign these stars. They had their issues last year. What is happening with the Mets, and what has to happen for this to be a successful offseason, besides make the playoffs, I guess?
They need more offense. They need starting pitching. And they are more comfortable with their team than perhaps those of us on the outside might think. And I believe at one point, after they lost Alonso and Diaz, I wrote something or referred to something that Fangraphs had, that their projected combined WAR is like 7th in the majors, which isn't bad. It's a playoff team, most likely, even with the players that they have. But starting pitching is certainly something that they're looking at, but they don't want to go long-term on any of the free agents, any of the remaining free agents. A lot of teams seem to be in agreement with them on that. So I don't know that you can fault them for that position. And then the question is, do they get another bat as well? And they've been linked to Bellinger, and that's really interesting, the dynamic that's going on right now with the two New York teams and Bellinger. And that would be a great fit for them. Cody Bellinger is kind of a great fit for every team because of his defensive versatility. But I don't know how it ends up for them. I don't know how hard they're going to draw the line on some of these salaries. And I don't know exactly how they see themselves compared to how we see them. And yes, they have a higher opinion than the outside world does, but I don't believe that they see themselves as anything close to complete. So I would expect one more starting pitcher at the very least and some other offensive addition beyond what they have.
Ken, what about the NL West? The Dodgers, obviously Edwin Diaz, huge pickup for them with their bullpen troubles, and they still won the World Series. Are they done? And then what about the Padres and the Diamondbacks? Is Ketel Marte going to be traded? Are the Padres going to actually have any money to spend, or is Preller going to have to do his wheeling and dealing and make 22 trades to end up with a completely different roster by opening day?
All right, I'll start right there because I can see that happening with Preller, making a number of trades and having a different roster. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like, but we reported earlier in the offseason that they were talking to the Mets, and I'm presuming other teams as well, about any number of players. Pivetta is in play. Cronenworth is in play. Morejón is in play. Mason Miller has been in play. So, yes, I can see them doing any number of things to just kind of reshuffle where they are, maybe get some more control in their rotation, because that's an issue for them. Pivetta and Michael King both can leave after this year. So that's the Padres. The Diamondbacks, as we wrote and as Mike Hazen, their general manager, has indicated, are getting ready to move on from the Marte talks. Now, that doesn't mean it's over, because a phone call could occur at any time and suddenly the Marte situation or the trade talks are back on. But from every indication so far, from every vibe they're sending out, that's almost over. Then the question for me becomes, okay, how serious are they for Bregman if they still have Ketel Marte on their roster? I was told earlier in the offseason they could do both, but they really need to address their pitching and bullpen in particular. So I don't know exactly how all that would work. And then there are the Dodgers. And the Dodgers, as we wrote, they are a team that their own people say like to hang around the backboard. And what does that mean? Well, if something falls to them at a price that they like, they're there. So they cannot be ruled out on anything. That would include a trade for Tarek Skubal. It would include a pursuit of Kyle Tucker. Nothing is out of reach for them if it becomes a situation where a trade or a free agent signing becomes, in their mind, worth the acquisition cost. Might not happen with any of these guys. But with Edwin Diaz, what happened? Well, they found a closer that they liked because the 3-year deal for them they thought was reasonable and something that they could do.
All right, we've hit on Peralta trade. We've hit on Marte trade. You can't bring up trades without bringing up Tarek Skubal. Is there a chance? I guess there's always a chance. Anybody can be traded. But are the talks still open? And does that, obviously that would shape what the Tigers do the rest if they do trade him or they don't trade him.
The talks are always going to be open. No team is ever willing to shut the door, because if you shut the door, then the possibility of another team coming at you and saying, well, what about this? And it's this overwhelming deal. You're not going to close that option out. From the beginning of the offseason, it has certainly sounded like the Tigers' ask for Tarek Skubal is very high, as it should be, even though it's only 1 year of control, and it has seemed unlikely. Now, that said, again, once Valdez and Suarez are off the board, in particular, but maybe even right now, there are going to be teams pounding the Tigers and saying, okay, what about this? What about this? Can you do that? I expect that to continue, maybe right up to the start of spring training, maybe even beyond that. But it's still going to take such a high price that I don't know that it will ever get done.
I have to ask this about some of the smaller market, quote, smaller market teams, the Pirates and the A's. All of a sudden, they're spending money. Did they find money somewhere? Or is this the collective bargainings coming up? We need to show teams that we actually, and the players that we can spend money, because the A's are trying to sign these guys to extensions. The Pirates are, imagine this, actually signing legitimate free agents to help with their pitching staff. What the heck is going on? Are we in bizarro world right now?
We are. And AJ, I've been kind of asking this question all offseason. And we wrote a story, Evan Drellick and I, early in the offseason about the Pirates and Marlins, because we heard early on that suddenly they had shifted, that they were signaling to agents that, yes, we're willing to spend in free agency to a greater extent than in the past. It has come true with the Pirates, for sure. They've been on a number of pursuits and signed Ryan O'Hearn. It has come true to a lesser extent with the Marlins, who have just signed Pete Fairbanks, admittedly a good signing for them, but they haven't really gone out there in a big way for free agents. The A's are a situation where they have pledged to ramp up as they get closer to their move to Las Vegas, and they're doing that. Not maybe to the extent that we originally were told they would, but they're spending. Now, that's each individual situation. What you're asking, AJ, relative to the CBA is the question I have and the question that's been raised to me by agents and others. Okay, what's going on here? Why suddenly the shift? The Pirates, we want to build around Paul Skeens. That's ridiculous. You had Paul Skeens for 2 years now, and you did nothing with him. So why now? Is it because, as you suggested, AJ, hey, CBA negotiations are coming up, and these teams want to prove that they can spend maybe to avoid a floor? Who knows what the motivation might be? But I've learned over the years, always be suspicious of teams that shift in direction, and these teams all seem to be shifting somewhat in direction all at once. And yes, I do believe it's CBA related. I do believe maybe these teams have been told, or at least nudged in a direction where MLB is like, hey guys, we're not going to be able to make a strong case here for whatever we want to make when you're pulling this. I won't say the word I was going to use, but when you're pulling what you're pulling, put it that way.
You wanted to say the B word. It's okay. I get it, Ken. We can't cuss on the air, except we can.
Baseball?
Now,
You can.
Baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah. But before I let you go, Ken, I have two things. One, the A's, they can't be called the Las Vegas A's or the Las Vegas Athletics because they couldn't get a trademark. So they're going to have to change their name. Maybe they should be called like the Strip Athletics or Strip A's. I don't know. Something. Because they can't be called Las Vegas. They can't trade. They didn't get a trademark, which is the most like A's thing of all time. Yes, the Las Vegas Strippers. That would be amazing, right? Like the Gwinnett Strippers. That's an amazing nickname, except I know it's not that. But before I let you go, we had a whole thing about Happy New Year. So the new year hasn't ended yet, but I just want to thank you for making the end of my year one of my highlights, because as winning Dork of the Year, thank you, Ken, because it just added up to an incredible year for not only Foul Territory, Fair Territory, and me personally. Hall of Pretty Good, I got in the inner circle, and I won Dork of the Year. And that's a huge honor if I took over, honestly, from like John Fisher, who was Dork of the Year every other time. So I am proud to say that I am a Las Vegas stripper.
What?
Well, AJ, I must congratulate you again. I know it wasn't something you necessarily expected, but as I poured through the list of candidates,
Why didn't do I get an award? Do I get like a
yeah, I don't know about that. But as I looked at the list of candidates and I remembered our conversation from May, text conversation, when you were making fun of my particular crew for having a rain delay and you got hit with a rain delay 10 minutes later, I don't know that it exceeds John Fisher or Bob Nutting or any of the other very deserving candidates that we had this year. But I figured, why not give it to AJ? He's Hall of Pretty Good. He's Dork of the Year. He's on a roll.
Right? I mean, thank you, Ken. Thank you for making my Christmas time special. I appreciate it. And Alana, too.
Well, good, AJ.
I'm assuming Alana had a vote in that, too.
No, that was mine. Alana had nothing
she had
to do
her
with
own?
it.
Alana had her own?
Yes.
Oh, who was hers?
Who was Alana's? I can't remember.
I forget.
Somebody's going to help us out in the next 10 seconds.
Might have been the Angels.
Go back and watch the show. Yeah, it might have been the Angels with the air conditioning and all that.
It was the Angels.
Yeah, it was the Angels.
It was the Angels, yeah. And
perfect
well
time.
deserved on that front.
Yes, and we launched an Angel show today, so it's actually all coming full circle here. Ken, AJ's back, as you know, so good to see you. We'll catch you later in the week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal, and let's hit Hot Corner. Oh, we got merch to talk about first. I'm actually wearing one of the shirts today. FoulTerritoryShop.com. Here's a little scroll of what it looks like. Hats, shirts, sweatshirts.
I don't even have that shirt, Scott.
You don't?
No, I don't have nothing.
Yes, you do.
I have a 3-year-old shirt that smells like butthole because I have to sweat in it every spring training, and I have two of them.
Wash it one time.
I do wash it, but when you have to wear it every day for, in spring training, you're out there grinding, chasing players around.
Do you like this one?
What's it say on the back, though? Oh yeah, I could rock that.
Baseball the way it should be covered.
That's why you don't have any of them. Because you're like, I don't know if I'd like that. It's got to be blue. I'm a blue guy.
Yeah.
Mark said he gave me that one. I don't have that one.
I think he did.
I don't think that he did.
Remember we gave you that care package?
What care package?
We gave you a care package.
You did not. You gave me a table. I got a table.
There was more than a table. All right.
At winter meetings.
Because I didn't send stuff, but
they gave me something at winter meetings too.
Yeah, I think
Scott gave me a bar bill at winter meetings. Does that count?
Hey, you should be happy about that. If you're included in it, then it's nice. All right, let's get to our next guest. Here's Mark Trumbo joining us on FT on a huge day. Halo Territory was just announced as the newest addition to the Foul Territory Network. Mark, great to have you on the show. Congrats on being part of the newest show. And what can you tell us about it?
Thank you. I'm happy to have the opportunity to do something. I had ample free time, as I guess a lot of ex-players tend to have, and this made a lot of sense. So I said, I think I have something to contribute at least. I watch a lot of the games. The Angels have played for better or worse in the last few years, so I am familiar with the comings and goings. And I think with my co-host Mike DiGiovanna, it should be a good mix, and hopefully the fans enjoy what we're able to provide.
Hey, give us a little taste of the first episode, right? So it's up there now. It's on the YouTube channel, podcast as well. Give us a taste of what the first episode is about, and also just to mix in your thoughts on the Angels offseason so far.
I think the first episode basically covers what you just asked. We kind of highlighted a few of the guys that they've brought into the fold, some areas of need, and, kind of just trying to paint a picture of where this franchise is, where they're possibly headed or not. And I know, a lot of fans see some of the big names remaining and think that, they'd be an excellent fit, Cody Bellinger being one of them. But I don't think there's a lot of logic in saying that he, is probable. As much as some people might like him, they need a center fielder. He provides excellent defense and a left-handed bat, which is also needed. Third base is a position that's up in the air as well. They might have Christian Moore start there, but he's another guy that's been rushed, to the big leagues, along with a few others. Neto has panned out way better than most, but these guys are still learning on the fly, which I think is incredibly tough, and is kind of a new thing because it's not the way it was, when I was coming up, and with AJ and Erik as well. I'm sure, you got ample seasoning in the lower levels, and then you were prepared when you got up, and sure, you might be exposed to a few things, but some of these guys are literally learning on the fly, and I think that's part of what I was hearing last year with the culture of the clubhouse. It was maybe not what a veteran player would be as interested in, with more of a classroom learning environment going on daily, talking about base running for 20 minutes. I know personally that, wouldn't be something as a free agent I would be interested in. So I think it's going to be a lot better with the coaching staff they brought in. And I think that's probably the biggest highlight so far is some of the names they were able to bring in. And they're kind of contrary to the other hirings going on around the league. A lot of ex-players and a lot of guys with a lot of experience. So maybe you guys can give your thoughts on that too, with John Gibbons and Brady Anderson and Maddox and some of the other guys.
Well, I want to see what you said. You said you watch this team all the time. What did you see from this team? Not like the behind the scenes stuff. Like you were just talking about how they were young. They got to talk about like how to run to first base in the big leagues and all that kind of stuff. But what did you see on a night in and night out basis that made you go, like this team just is not, like they need a little bit more time in AAA, or they have this guy out of position?
Well, that playing out of position is one of the biggest things. When you have an infielder in the outfield, they're going to get exposed. And it's not the player's fault. I was someone who roamed around a bit, had their opinions on my defense, which I would probably agree with them for the most part. But it's a tall task if you're, completely used to playing middle infield and you're thrust out into right field. Rengifo is the guy I'm kind of referring to here. What are realistic expectations of a guy? I mean, it's kind of ludicrous to think he's going to, be a seamless fit. But I saw a team that had some moments, but inevitably, once the All-Star break kind of came around, it only went one way. And by September, completely out of it, with injuries mounting, and it just wasn't an for fans. I don't know. I think there's pretty much two camps: those that are eternally optimistic and always hope for the best, I guess. And I think most probably fall into the slightly skeptical, if not totally cynical range, where they're wondering what is the direction. A lot of relievers signed this winter, 35 years and older. Drew Pomerantz, I think, was actually an excellent signing. From facing him, he is a very tough at bat, and he's still, he seems to not really age. So that's a great addition. Grayson Rodriguez should be a very nice fit if healthy. And then you got some flyers with Manoah and Romano, amongst others.
All right. Sorry. I thought are we showing these off?
Two shots.
Is this just me and just Kratz? You have one of those? Because just Mark.
Hang on. Hang on. I'm getting
Mark and we're showing these off, right? Oh, sorry.
I can't reach mine.
Oh.
Actually, I wasn't good enough to hit to get one. So anyway, go ahead.
I didn't know if we were showing. Mark has his behind him, so I'm just.
Oh, is that?
I didn't know where.
Yeah.
I didn't know where Kratz's was.
That.
I was just. Oh, that silver bat thing that he has. Yeah, we have one of those on the set too, Mark. Just.
I guess if you know, you know. Yeah, I don't have a ton of.
They won't even let. How about this? They won't even let me put mine on the set. I had to ask one of our guys behind the scenes to bring mine to me, so I'm not even allowed to show mine off.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's there though. A little bit reflective, but it's a nice.
We all don't have a camera like you do.
Tell the podcast crowd though, because people that listen to this later.
Mark has his silver slugger behind him, so I had to get Michael Beer to get mine. He has socks on too. For those women out there that are wondering, yes, he has socks on even when he doesn't sleep.
But silver slugger, 2-time All-Star, 47 homers was the season high.
He had a nice
3 times over 30.
Very nice career. Very nice career. Mark, but here's my question for Angels fans out there, and you that watches the Angels much more than I do. Can they find enough pitching ever? Can they ever find enough pitching? It's always like, gosh, we have these position players, we have this, we have that, and that they never. And then when they try to sign a pitcher, it's a short-term deal. It doesn't seem like it works out. Can the Angels ever find pitching enough to get them back into this race in the AL West?
Well, I mean, where do pitchers come from? You either develop them, which they've, a very poor track record, if I'm being honest. I think that when I was there, it was slightly better, but it was never really a strength. Some organizations just churn them out. Tampa, the Braves, others that come to mind. And you kind of wonder, especially when you're coming up with an organization, where are they finding these guys? Or, why are they so hard to hit? And I think with the advanced metrics data and everything else now, it's becoming clear, at least some of the secrets to what has been going on there. Hitting is still, the Wild West, although I see guys going to various instructors in the off season that are popular currently. But the other way to do it is to free agents, and you got to pay to play, unfortunately. I believe Kikuchi was sans CJ Wilson. I mean, CJ Wilson, to my memory, was the last guy that signed for significant money, and then Kikuchi got a 3-year deal for $67 million ish. So beyond that, if you go cheap, you get what you get. And sometimes it works out, but most of the time it isn't always, what the fans are looking for. And when you take flyers, you're putting a lot of pressure on the pitching coach to sometimes work magic. In the case of a Kirby Yates, there's a lot of history with him and Mike Maddox. So I think that's another good one. But as far as starting pitching, especially with injuries, I think last year they were very fortunate. They had a lot of health. And they have some guys with some good stuff. Soriano, I'm a big fan of Reed Detmers and, a few others, but they're still lacking significantly when compared to, the Dodgers, Blue Jays, and others.
I mean, a team that spends some money. You kind of mentioned it. The Angels should be a destination. Like, who doesn't want to go to Southern California and play there? And it's way less pressure than if you went and played for the Dodgers. Not that pressure's a bad thing. I'm saying, like, free agent-wise, shouldn't they be able to make Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of Southern California, a destination for free agents to go to?
It once was, and it not that long ago. Living near the beach, there's nothing not to like. Guys, that part of it is always a plus. But it is very hard to convince a guy that has options, especially if you have 4 or 5 different teams that are interested and willing to offer similar-ish money. Why would you go to one that is unfortunately probably going to be out of it after the All-Star break? That can make for an incredibly long year. I think that's the biggest thing in my mind. And then you're going to have to deal, if you have a no trade clause, then you can have, more control over that, but you're probably going to be somebody that's dangled out there and could be going somewhere that you really don't want to, or somewhere that's better. So I think it starts with coming up with a team that's at least capable of finishing 500, and then building from there. I don't see the current talent being capable of much better than that. I could be very surprised, and I'll eat my words if so. But I think 500 would be a goal that is it realistic? I hope it is, and I'm sure on their end they think of it, that it is. But as far as a playoff team, I think they're still quite a ways away.
It's just such amazing to hear me say this, because I mean, when I came up, the Angels, they won a World Series. I lost them in the LCS in 2002, and every year they were in the playoffs, in the playoff hunt. You went to Anaheim and they had the Thunder Sticks and the rally. It was like, man, it was just a tough team to play against for all those years. So to hear you say what you're saying for all these years not being in the playoffs, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit, even though the Angels fans don't exactly love me. But my question for you is, which of the young guys can take the next step, Mark? Is it Neto that continues to get? Is it Noel? Is it Christian Moore? Do we have Ohtani take a giant leap forward? Who's the guy that you would put your money on to take the next step and become a star?
Neto already is a borderline one. I mean, if you look at some of it, WAR is not my favorite stat, but I know it's, people understand some of it at least. But he ranks extremely highly. He can do a lot. At first probably, like most, a guy that's thrust into the big leagues that quick, who knows? It's sink or swim, and he's more than held his own. I think that there's a few incidents where his emotions can get the better of him. So I think that that's one area he can continue to work on and develop some more leadership. I think Ohtani is a very interesting one to me. He shows signs of someone who could be a perennial all-star. And in the next breath, it seems like either he loses, a little bit of confidence, or something happens in the game. Unfortunately, last year, it wasn't a pretty picture on both sides of the ball. I know his catching was something he was very focused on, and AJ, well, both of you guys can probably expand upon that. But I think it's got to be incredibly hard if you know that you rate very poorly defensively, in the framing department, in pitch calling and other things, and you're trying to make that better, all the while produce at a high level on offense. And it seemed like it was just too tall a task. And I know I saw some interviews at the end where he was going to cut out some of the noise and hopefully get back to what he trusts to work. Noel is a guy that's I think we kind of know what we're going to get out of him. I have seen improvements on defense, which is nice. He's not going to hit that many home runs. There's no other way to put it. I think he's explored that, but the best version of him is going to be probably 12 to 15 home runs, and getting on base, although he's not gifted with foot speed like most guys that are table setters, but that is his game. Christian Moore is kind of an unknown. He very athletic, obviously a high draft pick. It seems like he's got a lot of pop in the bat, but from what I saw last year, he changed his stance multiple times. So I don't know if that was his decision or someone else's. And when he got, some chances in the big leagues, it didn't look like the game sped up on him, but I don't think he was able to really showcase his talent all that much either.
All right, now that you got your own show, everybody's going to want to know, Mike Trout. When you hear that name and when you watch this team and when you think back to your ex-teammate, you guys are both young in the big leagues. Obviously, he's a few years younger than you. What do you see not only from his career, but for this season as the next step for him to continue his ridiculous career?
Well, career-wise, it speaks for itself. Even when the team was not doing much, he was doing a lot. And it's almost goofy to you look at the career numbers, and I knew right away he was light years better than me, and light years better than everyone else. And all the while having an attitude of just a playful, carefree, not totally, but I just vividly remember being stressed out of my mind in Oakland one day. not my best, let's say. And looking over at him, just has this big smile, and I was somewhat envious. Like, yeah, if I got 3 hits tonight, I'd probably be smiling too. But it just seemed like the game came very easy. But he's at a point now where, unfortunately, these injuries have started to compound, and it's very tough. I know he's got a knee that isn't cooperating. It's probably, as somebody that had a big knee injury myself, I can kind of testify that once it starts swelling on you, it's really a tough thing to manage. And you want to go out there, you want to post, you want to play, but the body might, it's just a saying, it's not the way. As far as outfield defense, I again hear some rumors that he might be playing some center field. Last year, defense wasn't a thing. They got a logjam with Soler. I don't see a fit for him on this ball club. So maybe they're able to move him, or maybe they just eat it. But I have high hopes for Mike. I know he was a tremendous teammate to me. He's always been somewhat under the radar with the media and whatnot, and I think he plays the game for the right reasons. And I'd love to see, a big resurgence. One area I'd really like to, because he's capable of so much, is the batting average. While it might not be popular to everyone, I still think it's incredibly important, and he's capable of hitting a lot better than 230. So I think that, for him, I'd like to see that improve, even if nobody else cares. I think that you don't want to look up there and see that when you're a guy that's a career 300 hitter. Maybe I'm wrong, but AJ, what do you think?
No, I agree. I'm a batting average guy, but it doesn't matter. That's how much gets you paid. And you know what, Mark, like you said, you hate WAR. I'm also not a huge WAR because no one can actually calculate or tell you how it's calculated, and there's different versions of it. And it's like every person we have on here is like, I don't really like WAR except when it gets you paid, right? So hitting homers like you did, it gets you paid. So also you mentioned them eating Soler's money. Like how much money is Artie Moreno going to eat because he's eating Rendon's money, right? So man, if I'm Artie Moreno, I'm just like, I'm hungry. I'm eating all the money of bad players that don't fit. When you said that, I was like, oh man, I forgot he was even on the team.
Well, it's 16 million, I think. I'd rather just do it all at once if it were me, and it's not me but Rendon, that didn't work at all.
You think?
I think. I watch this all the time, and I watched, various versions of him. He came back, and the best version I was, it was what it was. He was a singles hitter, but he was getting on base, and the defense was okay. The arm looked a little, it was passable, but he was in there and he was contributing. But for the most part, just a shell of the player he was for the Nationals. And I know that's not what he wanted. I don't want to be too hard on him, but I think it was also tough because he was so averse to communicating with the media. Various instances, hostile, and that could just be him. But I think he fell short in that role. Or as a player, it's part of the deal. You have a great game, you post at your locker, and it's easy. And likewise on the flip side, sometimes you got to be accountable and you got to give an explanation, even if it's not a topic you love. And he didn't do much of that. So I think his memories are going to be, maybe the cast fighting, they got into a brawl one time, and then Oakland fan and some other things. And it's unfortunate because I have heard that, as a teammate, he does do a very nice job. But for fans that are watching, you can't really make sense of, what he's about or what he's trying to do.
All right, Mark. By the way, you had an unbelievable career. You had a great career. You made a lot of money. But I have to bring up one story with you, and you might not even remember this, but I remember this story, and it's the only time in my career that this play actually worked. You were on third, and it was first and third, and you guys tried the old double steal trick, and I did the old pump fake to second, and you actually broke. And it's the only time in my long career that it actually worked. You were trying to steal home on the old first and third double steal with 2 outs trick, and I did the pump fake. So you don't even remember this because you were like, why am I trying to steal home? But for me, it was like the greatest moment of my life because I did the pump fake and you broke and we got you out. And I'm like, I can't believe somebody fell for it. So thank you. I'm just saying thank you because it was, I know it's okay. You probably are like, what the hell is he talking about? But to me, it meant something.
I think everybody should experience as much as you can in the game. And the fact that I was able to, I mean, how many times did you probably practice that, throughout your
all
career?
the time. That's what I'm saying. How many times in spring training do you do the old pump fake. This is never going to freaking work. And then the one time it worked, I was like, wow, that actually did happen.
There are not many base running highlights. There are plenty of lowlights. But I thank you for reminding me. One thing I briefly was laughing about earlier was first got called up. We were playing you guys and playing first base in Anaheim, and I heard somebody. I was playing, and sure, I was nervous. But what really helped was your manager at the time, Ozzie, had gone all the way down to the end of the dugout and was yelling at me, catcalling me, shaking visibly with his hands, saying I was nervous and I was going to make an error. And, I was like, what in the world is this? And then I think he took aim at Hank Conger, pretended he had a grenade. I think he was talking about his throwing arm. It was good fun. And I think Hank, in his defense, did throw out Vizquel, who might have been on the wrong side of 40 by that point. But, I had a good time with that. It kind of was like, okay, this is a serious thing up here, but guys do still have some fun, and they're going to give it to you, so you better be able to take it.
Yeah, it just got you ready for visiting fans to get on you, because Ozzie would get on you.
No manager does that anymore.
Oh no,
that
gosh, managers
so
just sit there like this now, and they look at their paper all the time. Every manager's like, "What do you think about my paper? What do you think?" Can't show anyone. I want to know what's on the paper.
Bench coach, they look together.
Stop.
Look at their
you don't want to
even look.
Meanwhile, Ozzie's like, hey, Trumbo, you suck.
Yeah. Trumbo, you're nervous. He probably called you by the wrong name, too. He's probably like, hey, Trumpet.
Trumbo.
Hey, Dumbo.
It got the point across. I was going to pretend or try and do the accent, but I don't think anyone wants to really see that. But, at first I was like, what, I looked over and he was, staring dead at me. So I'm like, okay, this is obviously coming my way. And hey, you nervous, And I was like, well, yeah, I am. But what the hell, and I think that might have been, I don't know if it was my first start, but it could have been. So welcome to the show.
You probably homered off of us later.
No.
Like every guy
I was lucky to get. Maybe in the following season, that first call up, I was lucky to get hit on my very last at bat. I think it was 1 for 15 or something. So I didn't, you never know if there's going to be another opportunity. So I think that memory stands out in Texas. I think the game had gotten away from them at that point, but I was lucky enough to have it.
That's true.
Out.
1 for 15, but then the next season, 29 homers. The next season, 32 homers. The next season, 34 homers.
I think it worked out.
He figured it out.
You got unnervous.
OPS plus is well.
Let's stay on the offensive stuff. Don't look.
We will.
Yeah.
We'll keep hammering that. Okay. Hey, we're excited about the show. We'll be listening. Welcome to the FT fam.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And thank you for the memory, AJ. I'll have to go look that up.
I'll let that one digest for the day. Mark Trumbo with us.
No, it will.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, there it is. The graphics are tight. Halo territory. The content's even better. So look forward to hearing from Mike.
Like that Halo up.
Yeah. And we have Sam Blum on the show frequently. He'll definitely appear on there for some spots. So you'll get it all with Halo Territory, part of the FT network. Couple little moves over the past 24 hours. Big Christmas is headed to Baltimore. Jhonkensy Noel is claimed off waivers from the Cleveland Guardians. So the Orioles have more pop. Got to make the team too. Great nickname, big dude.
Kratz, you brought up a good point. If he was designated for assignment December 17th, was he on waivers for like a month? Because I thought it was 10 days, 7 days, 10 days, whatever it is. I didn't know you could be on waivers for 2 months.
I think there's some freeze maybe during the Christmas time to New Year's. Maybe not. I don't know.
People will say, who cares? Even to the point where the Players Association will say, who cares? You know why they say that? Because that crap never happened to them. You're sitting there like, I don't know where I'm going. It's a little different in the offseason. You're like, whatever. It's no big deal. It's a big deal because there's an assimilation process. There's an opportunity for players, and teams love this kind of stuff. They love to be able to kind of, have opportunities to pick guys up at any time. And so anytime you're just like drawing this stuff out, it matters to players. Less in the offseason. Nothing's changing for him. But it's still, that sucks over Christmas. Big Christmas didn't even get to celebrate Christmas because he's like, am I going to be a minor league free agent? Nah, now I'm not. I don't know. Happy New Year. Still know nothing. It's usually 10 days. So 10 days kind of stretched out to like 20.
I try to represent the fan voice. If this is during the season, I get it. In the offseason, you're not going anywhere this second.
Yeah,
so.
But it still matters for where you have to get placed in spring training. There's a lot. Like that's where the average fan doesn't understand.
Half the board is still available right now.
Yeah, but those guys are going to get millions of dollars.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
The difference is Big Christmas is not.
Yeah.
Right? So
That's
he has to figure out, okay, there's a huge difference from Cleveland, spring training in Arizona, to Baltimore, spring training in Sarasota.
Yeah, and also
there's
if you don't
a
make
huge
the team
thing there. And then a team, and then you got to get to see new people. So if he would have cleared waivers and he was just a free agent, then he could have gone and said, okay, well, I get to pick the team that I think I have the best chance to make the team on, right, with his agent.
That's fair.
But now, since he's claimed by the Orioles and it took so long, or maybe it didn't, they just didn't announce it. I don't know. The whole thing is strange to me, but it does matter. That's why, like, when you're like, oh, as a fan, it doesn't matter. It matters. It would be like any person out there at their job. Their job said, you know what? We're firing you. Okay? You have 10 days, and you can't do anything for those 10 days. You can't look for a job. You can't do anything. And then at the end of the 10 days, say you work for AT&T and T-Mobile calls, and they're like, oh, we're going to hire you. Right? Well, is that a difference? And and by the way, you have to move across the country.
Right.
So
That's fair. And you're not rich. That's the big part too, is you can't pay your way out of the problem. Like he was optioned twice last year. He might not be in the big leagues this year, right? He had a bad year after 2024, 74 OPS. He was 480 in 69 games this past season. Minor leaguers are not rich. Okay? We can talk player salaries all day. Minor leaguers are not rich. So it's not like he can just be buying houses.
Listen, even 0 to 3 guys, listen, $750 is the minimum.
Yeah.
Which is a ton of money.
Sure.
Okay, do not get me wrong. Okay, but let's think about it. If you don't make it to arbitration, and you're a 0 to 3 guy, and you make $750 for 2 years, and then you get something happens, you don't make it. Okay, $1.5 million. Then you're done playing your sport.
And then cut that in half.
Cut that in half because of agents and taxes and everything else. But then you have to find a job, like a real job, because you haven't made enough to cover your life, right? So I mean, there's a lot, and that's I don't know. Listen, I understand that money is more money than most people ever make in their lifetime, like in 1 year. But it's you have as an athlete, you have a small window to make your life's money, right? So that's why when you're having to, and I've been DFA'd in the middle of a season. Kratz, you've been DFA'd in the middle of a season. You just sit there. I remember when what happened to me. I just sat there and I was like, oh man, I got 10 days to do nothing. I can't do anything. No one's going to pick me up. I was making too much money. So I went on a road trip with my family.
Well, you got to have fun with it, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, just so happened. Listen, it couldn't have been better. Listen, it was 2014. I got DFA'd by the Red Sox. It just so happened. It was right when the Hall of Fame induction in Cooperstown was happening. And Frank Thomas had invited my family. So they were already going. So we rented an RV and drove from Orlando to Cooperstown with another family who was also invited. Made stops along the way. I sent some videos of my agent of me taking soft toss, like with a beer in my hand, taking soft toss, right? And then I was in Cooperstown, and it just happened to work out. It was Frank's induction and the whole thing, and then I signed with the Cardinals. But the timing for me worked out. But like for a lot of these guys, and plus I had already bad 10 years and had a lot of money, luckily enough, stashed away. But like this is not a thing that most guys. It's hard.
I get it.
Kratz had way more time, so it's way hard.
Yeah, and we've talked about it with Kratz. We got to get to our next guest, so let's hit it. Now pitching, now joining FT for a little combo, it is Brad Keller, and he is fresh off signing with the Philadelphia Phillies on a 2-year contract. Brad, great to have you on the show. Thanks for the time, and congratulations on the deal. Can you give us a little insight on how it all went down with the Philly recruiting process that apparently didn't involve Philly's favorite, Erik Kratz, right above you on the screen?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was really cool. It was had good conversations with those guys. Had a Zoom call. I was actually on vacation. We had a family vacation down in the Keys, and it's kind of my agent called me. He's like, "Hey, man, like this is kind of picking up some steam. Like, are you able to, step away for a little bit and get on the phone? And I was like, yeah, sure. So jumped on a Zoom call, front office, and Caleb caught him and those guys, and really really liked what they had to say, and some things that were brought up pitching wise that I really enjoyed, and yeah, next thing you know, I was on a flight headed to Philly to get all my physicals done. So it was great though. No, it was a way more enjoyable process this time than years past.
How is that process different than other teams calling? Or did they all make the same kind of pitch, or was there no other pitch and the Phillies just said, "Boom, we're going right into it"?
Yeah, no, I think everyone that called me kind of had similar pitches. A lot of it, I kind of made a big adjustments from starting to relieving, and made a big velo jump and some mechanical things that a lot of them were just kind of asking questions on the process that went into that thought process, and how I felt like it did throughout the season, and so every organization that I talked to kind of had similar questions, and then more of just like a recruiting pitch on where they stood in an organization and where they're looking to go and things like that. So they were all really good conversations, but I think one of the biggest things that attributed to my decision was just last year I got a good taste of winning, and I really haven't had a taste of winning in most of my career. So after last year, it was like get to experience a postseason and things like that. It's just something that I want to do every single year, and I feel like the Phillies were a really good opportunity for that.
Brad, what changed for you? You were a starter most of your career, and then in Chicago last year, I mean, you blossomed into an elite reliever. What changed? What did you make a difference in your pitch type? Did you change your arsenal? Did you change the delivery? Did you change some grips? What changed? Because you were awesome for the Cubs, as much as it pains me to say that.
Thank you. I think first and foremost was just getting healthy, coming off of thoracic outlet syndrome, going through that down that path, doing the surgery, all that fun stuff. Finally feeling healthy, finally feeling 100%, having a full off season to not have to worry about health, just going straight into the season, where focusing on some mechanical things that I thought was going to be beneficial. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a big change. Honestly, I overhauled basically everything. I kind of I've always been really long arms, so kind of shorten that up, be a little bit more deliberate, kind of using my legs a lot more. As I feel like I'm just like squatting to the mound now instead of just kind of drifting. And then added a sweeper last year that was really beneficial. Really helped me strike out a lot more guys than I have in the past. So a little bit of everything, honestly. So it was a complete overhaul of everything I've done my whole career. So
when you see a guy do what you did, all the things you just said, you go to a new team on a nothing contract and get a massive contract the next year, you really proved yourself. Does it hurt at all that you've seen a lot of Cubs or the Cubs sign a lot of relievers and you're like, wait a minute, you guys had a front row seat to my resurgence and the fact that I helped you guys win, and you're like, wait a minute, like I thought you guys really liked me. And does it put you on another level then of being like, all right, well, the Cubs aren't going to beat the Phillies this year?
I love my time there. I credit them to everything this season. Like I said, my first taste of the postseason, first taste of winning throughout a whole season. So I have no bad blood or ill will against them at all. I mean, it was probably by far my favorite, season of playing baseball. I tell everybody I had so much fun. The clubhouse was unbelievable. The guys in there, support staff, all the way to the coaching staff, to the players, everything was, big league as it gets. So yeah, as far as that, I loved it over there, and like I have no ill will. But just looking forward to the opportunity with the Phillies. I've heard a lot of positive things over there as well, and guys that played for both have said it's very very similar situation, very similar setup over there. So it was fun in Chicago. I had a great time. It's my favorite city, but like I said, looking forward to Philly.
All right. Before, I had a different question. Can we show that again? Can we show that tweet you sent out? Because first of all, there were some lies in that tweet. Okay, you just told some lies. You told some lies, but you did say Chicago is the best city. I agree with that part, but there were some lies in that tweet. Thank you for the electricity, Wrigley Field. Thank you for. There was a lot. Beer snakes. You didn't like. Look at this. There's sport and energy. What do we like? Why you lie to the people and tell them this and that? Like, come on now, Brad. Like, let's not talk about this.
No, I mean Wrigley was unbelievable. I mean Wrigley was every single day. I mean we play all the day games and everything sold out. I mean I said it all summer. It's like, does no one work on Fridays in Chicago? It's unbelievable.
No.
It's just
Have you ever
it's
heard Lee
crazy.
Ilya? Have you ever heard Lee Ilya's rant?
Uh-uh.
Google Lee
He's too
Ilya.
young.
I know. Okay, so there's a manager for the Cubs. His name is Lee
He
Ilya.
probably didn't even watch you in the
And
big.
now he was a
30.
Phillies legend. He's a
Yeah.
Phillies legend. Okay, Lee Ilya. He said 85% of the world works. The other 15% come out to day baseball. There you have Cub fans summed
That's
up
facts.
in one
Yep.
quote, right? Especially on Fridays, right? So
It's
let's
insane.
not lie.
Yeah, it's insane.
I agree. All right, let's get back to the truth. Okay, do you like starting or relieving better? Because you came up and you were a starter for forever, and now you've had success as a reliever. Which one do you like better?
Yeah, that's kind of what I told teams this offseason. Is like I liked relieving, but I absolutely loved or I liked starting. I absolutely loved relieving though. Like there was nothing like the adrenaline spike that they get whenever the phone rings and you're coming in a tight situation. You're just kind of just clear your mind, go out there and just here's my best stuff. Like instead of sometimes you get caught up when you're starting, you're trying to like set pitches up and try to do this. You kind of be a little bit more um, you know, a more methodical approach to pitching, I guess. First bullpen, it's just here it is, boom, go after him. It was so much fun, and plus I had a group of guys down there that I leaned heavy on, guys that have been there, done that, pitching the biggest moments, and I asked them tons of questions, and they helped me out a ton. So they obviously made it a lot of fun and kept the bullpen light, and yeah, I mean I love relieving. It was so fun.
Yeah, your stuff played up. It was great. We watched you all year just shove, like AJ mentioned, one of the best relievers in baseball this past season. So if I take you back to the later part of your KC days, do you wish that you latched on with a role like this sooner? Did you guys ever talk about this? Because I'm sure there was a point in those last few years with KC where you're like, my stuff's good, but you just weren't getting the results that you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it actually. I think I got moved to the bullpen the last month of the season in 22, I believe that was. But yeah, I mean, I still felt like I was able to start and I still felt like I was capable to do. And then, I was still battling some injury stuff. And then even 23, ultimately the TOS just put me out for the whole season. But, I still feel like I'm capable of starting. But like I said, after having a full taste, instead of being on that line that we were kind of um, teetering on when I was with the Royals the last couple of years there. Fully going into the season, fully committing to the bullpen and being like, all right, this is where I am. This is where instead of like constantly having that, doubt in the back of my mind is like, am I still going to start or could I start? It's just fully committed to the bullpen. I think that was just so much better mentally to go out there and know, this is where I am. This is my position. Let's just go do it. So, yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Like I said, I spent that 1 month, but I didn't really do too well, I don't think. But I did my beginning of my career when I made the team in 2018. My first 2 months were in the bullpen, and that was at a time where I thought the bullpen was my avenue to the big leagues, and I threw really well doing that. And so I feel like once I was like committed to it, and kind of that's how I felt this year, just like fully committed to the bullpen. I feel like I was able to kind of just stay in that mentality, stay in that mode of just like getting ready every day, go out there and do your job.
How did you like your time in Kansas City? Because sometimes everyone's like, whoa, that's the team you first got called up with. You must love them. How did you like your time when you were there?
I mean, I really enjoyed it. They gave me the opportunity. Rule 5 pick. They gave me a chance to get my first taste of the big leagues, and they got a couple opening day starts there. Got a lot of starts under my belt there. I really enjoyed it. The city was great. The fans there were great. The only thing that I didn't love was that we weren't really winning. And it just kind of felt like a lot of turnover while I was there. We had, 3 managers, a couple GMs, two different owners. So it's like a lot of turnover during my time there. But the group of guys in the clubhouse are some of my best friends to this day. Still talk to them all, and even in fantasy football and the whole nine. So I really enjoyed my time there. I liked it a lot. And like I said, they my first steps to the big leagues. And after going to a couple of different organizations, you really see the difference from there to other places. And from my friends that are still there, they said a lot has changed from there from my time left now. So yeah, I mean, I liked it. Kansas City was great, especially first game in the big leagues where you're going to fail a lot. It was a perfect spot to be.
All right. Do you have your walkout music ready, because you've seen Duran in Philly, right, with the Durantulas, and they do the whole thing and they get the light show. Do you have a walkout plan? Because his is hard to top. So when the first time you run out of the bullpen at the bank, are they going to have some Florida Gator music playing when you break open through the bullpen, or what?
No. I mean, I have no idea, but Duran's is by far the coolest entrance I've ever seen. I've watched it for a while back when he was with the Twins, and then watched it, this year a couple times. Just There's nothing beating that. That's just one of the most electric things I've ever seen. It'd be cool to, maybe get a video one day. I think I had one towards the end of the season last year with the Cubs in the postseason. My parents filmed it one time. That's the only reason why I know. But no, it's that'd be cool. I don't, as of right now, I have nothing like
Good.
that. I'm just
Perfect.
yeah.
You know why? Because I say this all the time. The setup guys, they don't get an entrance. Only the closer gets an entrance.
No,
So
the closer
that was
only.
the perfect answer. Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying that, because the people on the show, Kratz and Scott, we should give the fifth inning long guy an entrance. Like, no, it's the closer. It's the ninth inning. No. So before we let you go, I have to ask you this. I know you're from Georgia. You tweet a lot about the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm sorry. Ole Miss all the way. Okay, sorry. I'm a Florida fan.
Geez.
So nice
Crushing.
job, Kirby, with your bowl cut. But is Kirby Smart going to leave for the Atlanta Falcons? Because that is the rumor.
No.
And when he does, will you Georgia fans ever stop crying?
No, he's not leaving. He's forever solidified in Georgia history. I mean, he played there, he coached there, national champion there, coaching wise, back to back. I mean, he's got it made there. I mean, it would be it would put the state of Georgia into a full panic if he left. Because University of Georgia, I don't mean this by any disrespect to Falcons fans, but University of Georgia football runs Georgia, right? Like Saturdays, like that's the thing. Everyone has plans for, based around Georgia football games. No one really plans around the Falcons games. It's like, oh, the Falcons are on. And that, again, this is no disrespect to them, but it's just like Saturdays, SEC football, like that's the mecca for Saturdays, or for football, if you will. But yeah, no, if he leaves, the state of Georgia might burn up in flames.
There would be full-scale panic.
Man, I'm going to call Arthur Blank. I think I'm going to call Arthur Blank to have a talk. I'll contribute $5 to get him out of there. I want to see this.
Just to see Brad's reaction.
Spoken like a true Florida fan right there.
Absolutely.
I got one for you on everyone's favorite team, Team USA. Did you get a call for the World Baseball Classic? And if not, you should get a call. And would you say yes?
I have got a call. We talked, early on, but I haven't heard back. It was kind of right around the time that I was, signing with the Phillies. And so, I don't know. I think it would be really cool. It would be tough just because it's my first spring training with the Phillies, and it would be a situation where I would want to be here for the team that I'd be playing with for the next 2 years. But definitely, obviously, a huge honor to represent America and go play in the World Baseball Classic. Obviously, a dream for a lot of guys. So yeah. I mean, I think it would be a tough decision. I mean, I definitely, like I said, would be honored, but it's kind of tough because I'm hoping to pitch really long for the Phillies and into October this year, and so. Yeah, I did get a phone call though, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, and some of your teammates won't be in spring training for long. Bryce, Schwarber, maybe some others too. So we'll find out. But they still have to fill out like half their bullpen. I'm looking at the roster. So you might get another call, but good to know, right? It might happen. So keep us posted if it does happen. We'd be excited to see you there. Otherwise, we'll see you at spring training in Florida.
Sweet.
Brad,
sounds good.
Do you
Thanks
golf?
for joining.
Do you
What?
golf?
Oh yeah, a lot.
Philly,
Love golf.
Philly, New Jersey area, maybe one of the most underrated golf destinations in the United States. Obviously, Florida has like
Really?
1,000 courses, but
Yeah,
unbelievable golf. Right around my corner here.
yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I need all the hookups for all the golf around here.
I got your guy for you.
Kratz
I
will send you
appreciate
rec.
And Kratz
Yeah,
will pay.
perfect.
That's the best part.
Wow.
Kratz will pay.
First round. Brad, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, man. Enjoy the rest of the offseason.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That's Brad Keller, newest member of the Philadelphia Phillies. We have a Philly show, by the way, part of the FT network. Zalecki, Salisbury, and Ruben Amaro Jr. It's the top downloaded Phillies podcast in the Philly area, so you should give it a look and also check it out on YouTube. I know we announced another show today, so if you would like to also subscribe to the Philly show, that would be awesome. Part of the biggest podcast network in baseball. And we've got our next guest joining us right now. Matt Strahm is ready to go back on the show. Here we go. Matt, great to have you back on, man. How you doing? Been an interesting offseason for you, and you end up back in a familiar spot.
Yeah. That's the business of baseball.
Yeah, well, driving to spring training already?
Yeah, where you going, dude?
What was that? Sorry.
Oh, you driving to spring training already?
No, I just got done working out, but I'm already down here in Arizona, so I'm ready.
There you go. Okay, so what have you talked to Kansas City about, since you found out the news? Like, who makes the phone call? Give us the play-by-play of how that goes down.
JJ, Dave called me first to let me know I'd been traded, and then I got a call from Jay, and he basically said, welcome home, and I said I couldn't be more excited to be home. So it's it feels like a movie, that's who drafted me, who brought me up. And I kind of gave JJ a little hard time. I said, you guys ran such a great organization that seemed to butt heads everywhere I went. So it was it's good to be back.
Are you driving as you do this interview? Hopefully there's someone else driving.
Nah, my brother drives me everywhere. So
okay, good.
He's good.
Because I do a lot of crazy things, but I've never done an interview while driving. At least pull over.
Well, you've done them, but you do them on the phone.
Yeah, on the phone, totally on the phone. But not actually on video driving and trying to look at the camera and trying to drive, especially if you're on I-10 out there in Phoenix. There's a good chance you might get pulled over. Watch out for the cameras, the speed cameras and all that junk where they'll send a picture to your house.
Yeah, I don't think they pull people over out here. I think it's just a recommendation how fast to go.
No, not true. I got pulled over full uniform in spring training one year, and I got a ticket in full uniform on my way to the Reds to Goodyear from Glendale. Full uniform, side of the road. Guy gives me a ticket, and he goes, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm going to the baseball game." And he's like, "Is that why you're dressed in uniform?" And I said, "Well, no, officer. I just thought I'd wear this today because doesn't it look good on me?" Like, yes, of course I'm a player going to the game. So anyways, but I digress. Yeah. How excited are you? I know you love your time in Philly. You guys had a great run there, but now you're going to a team in Kansas City that's kind of on the up, and they have great younger players. How excited are you to be a leader in this bullpen for the Royals?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited to be back, and the biggest thing for me right now in my career is I want to win. And I think this is a young team with a lot of talent, and I mean, last year didn't end how they wanted it to. Obviously, very disappointed. But when you mix that with some young guys, that can turn into a dangerous recipe, and anything can happen. And I'm excited to see what Kansas City can do.
I thought you said at the end when you're talking about the conversation with JJ Piccolo, you said, "I've butted heads everywhere I've went." What do you mean you butted heads? What do you mean? Like, is that you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say the Kansas City Royals do an unbelievable job of not only producing major league athletes, but they produce men. Like, that is something I was brought up with Kansas City, and Dayton Moore, his whole thing was, we're going to have good ball players, but we're going to first make sure you guys are good men. And, Kansas City kind of just has, in my opinion, they do it the right way. 10-30 ground balls mean Rusty Kuntz was hitting that fungo at 10:30. It wasn't 10:35 because we're waiting on Hosmer. Hosmer was there 5 minutes early. So it's. I am a very routine human being. I love structure, and structure doesn't work unless there's discipline or someone enforcing the structure.
All right, so now let's go to the team you just left. How do you feel like your time went in Philly, and were you happy? I mean, they obviously traded you away, which it happens to all of us. We get traded, we get moved. Is there anything maybe you wish different happened? I know besides winning a World Series, but how do you sum up your time in Philadelphia as a Philly?
I mean, the best way to put it is it was the best 3 years of my career. It was, again, I love this game. Yeah, money is awesome. Don't get me wrong, but winning is better. Like, I love winning, and that's the most winning I've done in my career is in Philly. And it was fun to do it in front of a packed house every night, whether it be a Tuesday in June or the playoffs in October. It was an exciting place to show up and work every day. But yeah, I mean, obviously fell short of the goal. And again, it's business. You can't control it. And now I'm going to go try win one in Kansas City.
Talking about Philly again, Matt Gelb and other writers wrote about how maybe you and Castellanos had some butting of heads with players or front office. How is that? How do you take that, and how is that perceived from a player's standpoint when you're like, bro, I really truly want what you just said, win, and go out there and men being men?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm unaware of any player I've ever butted a head with there. I mean, I'm a middle reliever. I'm not going to be a Hall of Famer, but the one thing I control is being a good teammate, and I don't think there's one guy in there that would say I've a bad thing about me. But everything's business, and I'll call a spade, and in this business, those guys usually aren't liked. But at least I know I have my job because I'm the guy for the job.
There you go.
Okay. I respect that. Listen, we all know, especially for me, we know how the media can spin things and make things out of nothing. So, listen, I respect exactly what you just said. And listen, the only people that truly know you are the people inside your clubhouse. And other than that, people outside can say, oh, this and that, we think that. But if they ain't in there every day and they ain't in there grinding with you every day and they don't know what you're about, then who cares what they say? That's kind of the way I look at it. So.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, Matt, do you feel like, what was it like at the end just now with Philly in the playoffs? Obviously, you guys fell to a Dodgers team that was really damn good. So was it disappointing knowing that you had, such a talented roster and all of that? And obviously they're going to try and run it back again, but it did feel like, the window does close eventually when you have a number of superstars like that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, last year, honestly, all 3 years, the ending felt the same. Like, you just were so talented. We came up short. We didn't do the end goal. I still think the one that hurts me the most still is the NLCS against the Diamondbacks. That was just, I still have a sour taste in my mouth about that one. So, losing sucks. Winning's good. And if there's only one that gets to win at the end, so.
All right, Scott Braun. We're not going to show him because it's just going to be me and you on the screen. He's got huge biceps, so don't be intimidated by him. But he called the Phillies a regular season team. Is there any credence to that? Is there anything? You're on that team. We try to explain to Scott, look, you go out, you play the game. Yes, the results in the postseason do matter, but is there such a thing as a regular season team? And were the Phillies a regular season team?
We all know playoff baseball. Like, you run into a rocket, they could have been that was the Phillies in 22. They were the worst team in the playoffs. And next thing you know, they're on Game 7 of the World Series. It's like, so the playoffs is an animal you can't control. So, we're all regular season teams. All 30 of us.
People don't understand how hard it is just to make the postseason. So let's also not forget about that. How hard just to make the postseason in baseball is a lot harder than any other sport. So let's not forget about that.
And then you're facing the best pitchers.
And then you're facing the best pitchers, the best teams, and there is no game off, right? So it's very hard to win a World Series. It's extremely hard to win a World Series, no matter how good your team is, right? So that's why. Whatever. Don't listen to Scott. Scott, just ignore. He's got big biceps.
Nothing to do with Matt Strahm. I'm just saying that the Phillies' offense was dynamic in the regular season, and they obviously are not going to score as much in the playoffs, but the superstars said it themselves, some of them on the Phillies. So, Matt, I do 2 hours on a talk show every day. You know, you've done media and all of that. I'm like, hey, the guys themselves, Schwarber and others would say themselves, hey, we got to do more. They said it every year after those losses.
Yeah, but I mean, the media said it was the pitcher's fault, you know?
That media, not me.
Good comeback. Great comeback. All right,
Exactly.
let's move on. Let's move on from the Phillies. You're no longer a Philly. You had a great time in Philly. Cool, all that stuff.
Yep.
You haven't had to cut your hair in Kansas City. You've clearly grown your beard out, which is also awesome. But you're a big card collector. How many autographs are you going to ask Bobby Witt Jr. for as soon as you walk in? Are you just going to walk in with like a stack of cards like this and say, Bobby, teammate dues, dude, just start signing, bro?
Well, so I know Bobby's a big card collector himself too. And I am the owner of one of his rarest rookie autographs. So there's going to be a stack of cards he'll have to sign if he's thinking he's going to get that in a trade. So we'll see.
Oh,
Is there?
That's a good deal.
I like that because that brings me to my question. Is there like a hierarchy in the card land? When you look at a guy like Bobby Witt, everybody knows what his contract is. It's big 9 figures.
Yep.
And you both are card aficionados. Do you look at him and go, man, bro, if I had that kind of money, I'd be buying all the kinds of stuff. Like, I don't have the coolest stuff. Like, is there that in the card land?
I'm sure there is for some. Me as a card collector, I call myself a pack rat. I enjoy the chase. I mean, like, some guys enjoy scratch off lottery tickets and just the adrenaline rush of scratching. I like opening packs, and whatever I open is what I collect. I'm not like a guy that's like, oh, I need the rookie Michael Jordan card, so I'm going to go buy it in a PSA 10. I might find a pack of 86 and open it up and see if I can hit his rookie card, but I'm more of a pack rat. I enjoy the chase, but there's definitely some people that are like, yeah, oh, if I had your money, I'd buy a whole case of cards. And it's like, well, it's financially not smart. It's like the way I collect. Yeah, the way I collect is shoot myself in the foot for sure. Like, I'm not making money on what I spend, but it's just a fun little adrenaline rush for me, I guess. I don't gamble. I don't do any of that. That is my gambling. It's baseball cards.
I was going to say, some people would say that's gambling. So then that leads me to the next thing. Do you like where card collecting has gone? Because it used to be you could buy a pack for 50 cents or a quarter, and you get the little piece of bad bubble gum that tasted for about 3 chews, and then you had to throw it out because you break your teeth off, right? But now it's $30 for a pack or $300 for a box or whatever it is. Are you okay with that?
It's getting crazy. I mean, when I first got back into it in like 2018, you could buy a box of Topps Chrome for $129, and now I think they're $250. So it's getting expensive. It's becoming I don't know, it's like golf, a rich man's sport, I guess. But it's yeah, I wouldn't say, the traditionalist in me would say no, I'm not a fan in the direction it's going.
Hey, I'm going to do my classic question I've been asking dudes, especially from the U.S. Have you gotten a phone call about Team USA? Because you should get one. They only have a few relievers right now.
I haven't.
Okay. Well, if you do get a phone call, are you in?
I mean, it's USA. Who wouldn't be?
Yeah, that's what I figure. I mean, they've got a lot of the position players. Obviously, a lot of that's figured out. And even actually, for the first time, you're seeing some, more number 1, number 2 starters join the fold here. So what do you think about that? Do you think there's any reason for the change there? I know it's been like a hotly debated topic for the past probably decade at this point. Like, how does Team USA get their starters that are, superstars onto the roster?
I mean, I think the reason thing is it goes back to AJ saying how hard it is to make the playoffs, and we see the atmosphere of the WBC, and we've seen what the playoffs have been the last few years, and I think guys are hungry for that adrenaline rush and that atmosphere. So I think it's think that's what's kind of taken him out of the woodworks here to, I don't know, kind of turn the cheek to the owners. I'm sure the owners aren't happy when we play in this, but it's an experience of a lifetime, if you ask me.
Agreed. All right, on your hat, you can't really see it. It says Lank Archery, which is, I'm assuming, what, Lancaster Archery, right? Is that what it is?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So on your Instagram, I saw where you got a special bow mate. Can I bow hunt? Can I get a Lank Archery? Like they made, do I have to play for the Phillies maybe? Because I know they made a special one for JT. They made one for Schwarbs. Yeah. They made one for you.
They made one for Roop out in San Fran, and then is it Bubba Chandler in Pittsburgh? Bubba.
Yeah. Bubba Chandler.
Bubba Chandler in Pittsburgh. Yeah. So no.
You want to try?
I
might want to try and find his rookie card.
You what?
You might want to try and find Bubba Chandler's rookie card. It could be worth something.
Need that one.
He's good.
I got a bunch of cards at home I got to open yet, so we'll rip through them. But no, I'll hit up my Lancaster guys and I'll send him your number. I'm sure he'll reach out and get you in one.
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
that's true.
Scott's looking at me like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But yeah,
I'll go bow hunting with you.
You'll go bow hunting?
Yeah,
dude, come on, no chance.
I'll go.
No chance.
Yeah, I'm an Orlando guy.
We don't really bow hunt. Yeah, exactly. My son went to college, right? And now he's back home, and now he's all into hunting. I could never get him to go with me. So now he's like, Dad, I want to learn how to shoot a bow. He's like, is it hard? And I'm like, it's really not hard. You just got to practice. He's like, well, can you get me a bow? And I'm like, no, you have to go and get measured, and you have to do all these things. You have to measure your draw. You have to get your arrows the right length, all this. And he's like, oh, that seems like a lot of work. And I'm like, no, it's not. You just have to find like an hour to go to somewhere and do all the specifics. And then once you get it, you can make the bow however you want, the arrows, everything. And it's kind of cool because you get to accessorize all this cool stuff. Exactly. So you'd love it.
I would, yeah. I mean, I've only been at Animal Kingdom lately, Matt, so I got to get out more.
Yeah, you need to get out and see something. But no, bow hunting's fun. They actually just took me out to Texas, and we went on a whitetail hunt, and it's a blast.
I love it. All right, well, AJ, I mean, you know who to call.
I do.
There you go. Well, Matt, good catching up, dude. Thanks for the time. Appreciate you. And we'll be out in Arizona, so we'll see you in spring training.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Talk soon. That's Matt Strahm with us on Foul Territory. All right, we're back. And actually, we're going to go right to the hot stove front. Let's go to spreading rumors. So let's start with ESPN's Buster Olney saying it seems inevitable that the Mets will sign one of Framber Valdez or Ranger Suarez as they continue to explore the starting pitching market. You know why I find this interesting?
Are they going to sign for 1 year or 2 years? Because that's David Stern's MO.
Or are they giving in and signing to longer term deals? I don't think 1 or 2. I mean, Sean Manaea signed for 3. So is that the biggest he's given out since he took over? Am I missing anyone?
He's never given out more with the Brewers even. I mean, he gave out extensions to young pitchers.
Yeah, like Freddie P, but that doesn't count. So for free agents, Manaea was the biggest one. 3 years, $75 million. Maybe so that's what
Framber. Framber 3 years, 85. Does he do it?
Tell me what else is out there.
He's not getting. Is Framber getting 30 anywhere else?
I think Framber's at the age where he's looking for the biggest guarantee because he might have to take a deal where it's got opt-outs and he hops back into the market. But if you're Framber, in fairness, you're looking around like, what else do I have to prove on the field, just, performance-wise, statistics-wise? I think Framber's, 32 years old. It's one thing if you're taking your first crack at free agency. Like, here, I'll give you the example. Michael King coming off injury. Makes sense, right? He might end up being just a 1 year, $22-ish million with the Padres, and some of that's deferred, I think. And then he hops back into the market. Zach Gallen might have to do that based off the year that he just came off of. If you're Framber Valdez, you're like, I've been consistent as hell in terms of putting up my overall numbers. I mean, yes, he goes through his really hot and cold times during the season, but
when he's good, he's really good.
When he's good, he's really good. But look at his numbers. I mean, sure, he tailed off a little bit towards the end of this past season, but you're looking at a pretty consistent 30-ish starts for the past 4 years, racking close to 200 innings. And when you get to the end of the season, the numbers are pretty close. So you wouldn't think he would need to do something like that. But I just don't know who the big spenders are right now in the marketplace for this kind of pitching talent. Do you? It seems like a lot of those teams are looking on the trade front, right? The Yankees have a lot of money, but are they spending it on either of these guys, or are they trying to trade for Edward Cabrera or Freddie Peralta? Orioles are definitely in play. They've been linked to Ranger Suarez for 10 years now, and it hasn't happened yet, but I think it still could.
Braves?
I don't know if the Braves are going to spend like that. I think they're more hanging around in case the trade market opens. I don't know. Maybe they would spend like that.
I don't know. I'm just throwing teams out there.
The Mets and the Orioles.
You asked what teams, and I'm throwing team names out there.
Mets and the Orioles.
The question for me is, why did the Astros not want him back? They signed Amai to a 3-year, what was it, 18?
It's going to be 363 or 1 year, 20-something, and then back to the free agent market. But yes, they did that. They added some. Who else am I missing that they added? Not Weiss. I know they added him too.
They added a trade. They made,
but they got Mike Burrows, who obviously has cost nothing. He's league minimum. But why didn't they want him back? Framber Valdez is an interesting.
No, it's just a question. I don't know.
Agent. I don't think we need to beat around the bush. Like, he had a massive incident this past year. Massive, right? Everybody looked at that and said that's insane. He had to go to the GM meetings, and they made a whole video, and then teams decide for themselves. But like we said, when this happened, some owners are human beings. They see this stuff. Just like they get excited when they watch the playoffs and their team's not in it, and they see a guy shine, and then they're like, I want that guy. They watch that incident, it goes viral, and they're like, I don't want that guy. Even if he's good. That is a part of it.
Maybe he just wanted too much money, Scott. Why do you always got to go there?
I'm not always going there. But also, Dylan Cease got 210, or if you want to put the net present value, it's still high 100s. And then the rest of the market's like, oh, well, I put up numbers like that. Like Valdez has put up numbers like that. But teams say, I like Cease better. So we don't think that you're worth the 185 or whatever the number is, right?
Giants, maybe?
Nah, they're not spending like that. Okay. They said it, and they went Molly and Adrian Hauser.
I just don't. You asked for teams that could do it.
Orioles, Mets. They both want to buy starters. But
okay, so then where does Ranger and Framber end up? One of them ends up in one place, the other one ends up in the other place?
Ranger to the Orioles, Framber to the Mets. But I'm with Kratz here. I do think he's going to end up getting a deal that's like 3 years, 85, with an opt-out after year one and a high AAV in year one, which is like $30 million or $35 million.
I have it for you, Scott. I think. If he gets 5 years, 120 from the Orioles, or 3 years, I'll even say 90, just for easy math. One is 24 a year for 5 years. The other one's 30, and he gets to hit the open market again. I mean, a three-year, $90 million deal. He's going to have an opt-out after the first year. But which does he take? He's 32 years old. A 5-year deal puts him at 37. 24 a year doesn't put him up there with what Dylan Cease got. 30 a year per year. Now you're talking the same, more of the same realm.
It's a great question. You guys are players. What would you guys do?
Depends where he is.
I take the 120.
I'd take the 120, but
yeah, take that as my big deal and call it. I don't know what the next year. You know what the next year might look like? A disaster, because you're also going up against the CBA.
Yes.
So for me, I'm taking the largest guarantee. If it's that different, if you're saying 90 versus 100, maybe that's different. But if you're saying 90 versus 120, there's a $30 million guarantee difference. I'm taking the 120.
So then who's making out? Who's making out in both those cases? In my opinion, it's ownership. There's no such thing as a bad 1-year deal. And if you only have him for 3 years and he flops after the first year, you know what? We spent less than $100 million. So to me, either one of those scenarios, because of how things have been swung in the media and how they've been like put out there about Valdez, because Scott, you even did it. You were like, who doesn't like this guy? Who doesn't? Well, and then 2 minutes later, you're like, remember that one thing that was out there? Like Jim Bowden said, this guy's work on the field should stand for itself. You have an opportunity to converse with this guy about what has happened, not just that incident, but other instances. I just think I think it's too much swinging in the wrong direction if this is how players always have to go into their first year of free agency. Look at Boris's clients They've gotten paid. But unfortunately, what if one of these guys gets hurt? Now they're not getting paid. I mean, it worked out for Chapman. It's most likely going to work out for Bregman. Like, they're getting these contracts that they should have gotten their first year. It's another way of ownership saying, you made it to free agency, we're still going to stick it to you for one more year.
And just to clarify, for Fromber, he's not a Boras client. Pete Alonso for sure. Well, I'll give you one part of how that works too. Some of these guys are getting attached to qualifying offers, and teams hold that against you way too much. But that goes into a bigger conversation that we talk about and almost no one else does.
The CBA?
The CBA. They're like, hey, make sure you hold these dudes to the fire with their qualifying offer, because
I don't understand why. I mean, I understand why teams say the qualifying offer, because you get a draft pick. But how many? I would love to see a stat on these draft picks that actually turn into bona fide Fromber, Valdez, all-star type, World Series winning, no-hitter throwing players.
Some do, some don't.
But that's the thing. Just so I get more money?
But they
in the draft that I can then the GM can screw up?
It's worth so much, and we're going to hold it against
you.
But
it's
it
not.
happens every
year.
It's
fake money. Like, I'd rather have the good player.
Give me the good player. So would many. But there are some that do hold them up against that. But the point right now is, who are the teams on the market that are actually thinking about spending $100+ million on a free agent starter? And do they think that guy's the perfect fit? I mean, I'm still shocked about Amaya. I think I'm the high guy on Amaya. I think he's going to be a stud. But maybe I'm wrong. Other teams clearly thought he's going to be a 4 or 5, or maybe not even be a starter. Like, that's what was spoken there. I mean, he's got innings markers to hit that are like basically start games and you'll hit the markers, 80, 90, and 100. So, I mean, to me, he's going to hit the market again after this year. But for these guys, clearly, there's some teams that are like, I don't see it for Fromber like the Blue Jays saw it for Dylan Cease. And I do think Ranger Suarez will get a nice contract, but we've talked about this. He's had some injuries and stuff. He's not the perfect free agent starter available. He's going to get paid.
He's young.
Yeah. And some teams would say, hey, he's had some injuries early on in his career. The mileage on the arm is less. You can paint it however you want to paint it. That's always the bullshit. Right? You can say, oh, he's had a few injuries, but you can also say, okay, he's had less mileage on the arm. Remember? Like,
it goes back to what we always say.
James Shields pitched 1 billion innings every year until he didn't.
Listen, it always goes back to this. More teams almost try to talk themselves out of signing the free agent instead of saying, man, this guy could really help us. Even on a short-term deal, let's throw a 1-year deal, with an opt-out or whatever, like the Red Sox did with Alex Bregman. It's just so much. So much of always, they're always looking for the negatives, because when they're negotiating, that's what they're using with the agents.
Well, they all use the same formulas now, too.
Exactly. Remember, Rob Manfred just did a thing where all the minor league information has to be together.
Same.
You think the teams don't talk?
Yeah, everyone's
about
using
their
the same
form.
stuff.
I'm not saying they talk about players, but you don't think they all, because look at the front office movement this year, from the Red Sox, from the Cubs, from this team, from that team to the new. You don't think that they bring their formulas that they just learned with the old team over?
And most teams have the same shit, too. There's like a few slight differences.
Taboni came from where? Boston.
Yep.
So he's going to use the same formula that the Red Sox used for years. Chaim Bloom came from Tampa, and then he went to Boston, and then now he's in St. Louis. So they're all using the same little formula, whatever it is, because they're all intertwined throughout the league because of the trees.
And then you know what happens last year, and I talked about this the other day, eventually a phone call is made to Red Sox owner John Henry, and they're like, hey, dude, I know that your projection model says this is the contract. It's not going to get him, and he's about to sign with the Tigers. Do you actually want the player? You have to go to this number. And then he's like, okay. And then that's what happened. So then you throw everything out the window. That's a real story.
Yeah, that's how it works. And you said before, Scott, you were like, the qualifying offer is connected and all. And AJ was asking how many. What percentage do you guys think of first rounders? Because you don't necessarily get a pick depending on when the team is, but first rounders that make the big leagues. Just make the big leagues.
Go ahead. I have no idea.
66%. 60%, 66%. So you have this on one side. You have Framber Valdez, Ranger Suarez will start a playoff game for you. Ask the Tigers how close they were to making it to the next round, making it to the World Series. One extra pitcher, would that have done it for him? To this side, you say, 66% chance of, you know what, a guy could make the big leagues. It's not even like you're talking about in this hand, the qualifying offer is getting you a superstar. It's getting somebody who has a 66% chance of making the big leagues. If you're only basing it on numbers, why would you not take what's right in front of you if you're a team that says, man, we're so close? The Tigers, the Mariners, the teams that are so close. If you can add a player for a specific locked in amount of money, why would you not make that move? Because it inhibits your job. Like, it makes you look like, ooh, you know what? This could keep my job for a longer time. Like, the qualifying offer is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Talking about a kid that's in college right now or high school right now as a possibility of making the big leagues in 5 years. What?
Where the hell are the Cubs?
Wait. Yeah, exactly. Wait. Who has a 66% chance?
He's saying first round picks. If you get picked in the first round, 66% of them.
All first round picks have a 66% chance?
Just to make it.
The thing that I looked up says 66% of first rounders make it to play at least one game in the big leagues.
Okay.
I just want to point this out quick.
But I played just a lot of guys that were for high first round picks and this and that, and their careers, they made the big leagues. I used Josh Booty. Remember, there was a guy named Josh Booty. He was like the 10th overall pick. He got like a cup of coffee because he was only because he was a first round pick. And they're like, well, we have to validate the first round pick.
Yep.
Right. Like there was a lot of guys I played with and against a lot of first round picks that only made it because they made to make the organization. Oh, we got this one right. He's in the big leagues because he was a first round pick.
Yeah, impact first round is a very small percent. I mean, impact
of
anything.
any round.
I mean, it's
it goes down as you go down in the rounds, clearly.
Yeah,
but it's just the qualifying offer to me is just.
I'm not
saying Kratz on this one. Draft. We overvalue because there's team. I'll use the Dodgers. The Dodgers pick at the bottom of the first round. They go sign. They give up draft picks all the time, and you know what they still do? They still develop guys that they can trade away and make into players.
About prospects.
You know why? Because it's development. It's not always about where you draft. It's about who you draft and how you develop.
Yep, I'm with you.
I mean, because nowadays the first pick in the draft ain't always the best player either, because teams have slots. And they'll make it's crazy because I just went through with my son, not my son getting drafted, but teams calling and other kids on his high school team one was drafted, a couple of them could have been drafted, but they're like, hey, we'll draft you if you'll sign for XYZ.
This happens all the time.
And like the higher you get in the draft, like they want to know if they're using a top 3 round pick on you, that you're gonna sign. Hey, who had the first pick this year? The Rockies? No, who was it? I forget whoever had the first pick this year. They called whoever they drafted, and they're like, hey, can we get you, instead of the slot being $9 million, the Nats, right?
Yep.
The slot, let's say the slot was $10 million this year.
Nats just did this, by the way. This is the perfect example. The Nats did this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Called like 5 guys.
They called the top 10 prospects and said, hey, will you sign for 7 instead of 10? So that way we can save the $3 million for later. And whoever said yes, that was who they drafted first.
Yeah. They got Eli Willits.
There
were other phone calls made. That's
100%.
a fact as well. Yeah. The dream scenario, it's not the dream, but the Pirates picked Henry Davis. He took under slot as a 1-1, and then they luckily saved face by getting Bubba Chandler later on.
Yes,
right?
But my question is baseball the only sport where this matters?
Where what matters?
Slot value, who you pick. Because if you go in football, they pick the best player.
That's
quarterback
why our
usually.
Draft is fucked. It should
right?
just be
okay,
the
so
best
then
players.
let's go NBA. They usually pick the best player, right?
Yes. Do you know why this is all created like this? It's because we have this annoying cap system in the draft, and that's why it's not popular and in the mainstream, and no one understands how it all works. And they're like, wait, the best player didn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The best player went 7. I can go all day on that, but that is a thing. Let's get to one more rumor. Back to Buster Olney's report on the Red Sox making an aggressive offer for Alex Bregman. Can we show this tweet? Our friend Jared Carabas commented on this in the morning. So Tyler Milliken put out this tweet to summarize what Buster Olney said. Aggressive offer for Bregman. Today he says they've signaled a willingness to pay him big money, maybe something in the range of 6 years, $171.5 million. Carabas said, if this is real and Bregman hasn't accepted it yet, then what the fuck are we doing here? I'm with Jared here. That's a very healthy offer to Alex Bregman, I still have this lingering question in my mind. Is Arizona more involved than we think? And does Alex have an inclination to maybe end up there to be there full time and do the Corbin Burns kind of situation, right? Like if the money's close from Arizona, no? You don't think there's any factor there? I mean, you guys are the players. You tell me.
Taxes.
Arizona, taxes, living there year round, it's an appealing place. And it's not a bad team. It's a good franchise.
Yeah.
You don't think that's a factor here? Like that they're still dancing around and the numbers are close? No? Because otherwise, like Jared said, like, what are we waiting for here? That seems like a very healthy offer. Is he getting more than that? I don't think he's getting $200 million. Do you?
No.
That seems like a pretty nice offer. Does someone have better than that?
That's what he's hoping for.
Maybe. I don't
think someone
know.
has better than that?
The maybe part of it. Tyler Milliken put maybe 6 years.
Well, he didn't even put that. He's just aggregating from Buster Olney's report. So, and Buster might not have. I mean, usually when someone tries to put the exact number offer out, it's often a miss. So, I'm just throwing that out there. But if that was the case, he's like, what are we waiting for?
I don't think, and obviously I have no idea. I don't think the Diamondbacks are the ones that have to make the offer first. And I think the Red Sox have the let us know what everybody else offers. They don't want to bid against themselves.
Okay,
but I
fair.
don't see how they don't get Bregman. And I think that's how they put it. And because they saw what he can do. And I think it's wait for the Diamondbacks to make the offer. And then I think the Red Sox will either match it, top it, whatever that needs to be.
Sometimes you're not given that luxury. That happened last year with the Tigers. It's like, you sure that's your last offer? Cool. Red Sox just beat you. We gone. Schwarber just did that with the Reds. Reds told him, hey, come back. We can go higher. And he's like, nah, Phillies just put this number up that I was looking for later. I know it's different, but I'm just saying they don't get the honor of getting last call just because they had him for one season.
I think some organizations do. When you play for that team, I think some organizations do. I believe that. I know that with some organizations because that's how some of my buddies have done their contracts.
I know, but that's not a rule. Like he played for them for 5 minutes.
It's not a rule, but
if you were him, would you think that he needs to give them the benefit of last call offer? No. You would be like, yo, tell me what I'm worth. Throw it out there.
Give me your best offer.
I got other teams involved. This is a one time you get to do this.
Here it is. I'm going to make a decision. Give me your best offer.
Yeah.
I'm going to decide.
Deciding today, what's your best offer? I'm not coming back to you with my other shit. That's none of your business.
I disagree. Arizona
when
says 160.
For 5 minutes?
Arizona says 160. Hey, Boston, I'm about to sign. It's 160. What do you got? They say 165. Arizona, they just said 160. Isn't that how negotiations work? Like, why do we have to
he's not going to. One thing they don't do is throw numbers out there.
But also, that is not how it works for most cases. They do not do the back and forth. Oh, this team said this team said that. Part of that actually has to do with something you bring up, and we all bring up all the time. Like you're trying to play a mystery game because you're already fighting against collusion, even the indirect collusion of everyone using the same models. So the best way to counter that is to actually make it more of a mysterious process. Like, I've got something, it's hot today, I'm going to take it, and don't even give them time to figure out who it is and what the offer is.
I don't know.
I do. I know that's a thing.
Yeah, that's
what I agree with you that that's a thing. But as the player, you want them to negotiate against each other. And I think the leverage is in Bregman's hands with the Red Sox.
Yeah, I agree. The leverage is in his hands, but I don't think he has to go back to them and say, hey, John, can you beat the better offer that I found? Like, they're the Red Sox. They can handle their own big boy offer on their own. So whatever.
I would go back.
Leo, take it away. That's a good one today. Regular season homers for Shohei Ohtani. BetMGM futures up. They have him at 49.5 homers. Over, under?
Under for me.
Okay.
Easy under.
Under.
Locking it
Under.
in right now.
Under. Pitching full time.
Yep.
That's true. Full season of pitching.
Full season of pitching. I think he's going to miss some time at some point just because I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen, but
But that's not even saying like I hope it doesn't happen. The Dodgers are very cautious with everyone because they play the marathon game of we're trying to win a World Series. We can get through the regular season with what we have.
I think he hits 42.
Okay. I love this. I'm on the under train as well. 110 to win a hundo. Lock it. I like it. That's an easy one today. And let's cue a little basketball betting action for you since besides futures, there's not much we can do until World Baseball Classic, which is actually coming up soon. But if you're betting on the NBA this season, something to take a little pressure off your picks, the NBA No Sweat token, and you get your stake back in bonus bets up to $1,000. First, you log in and grab that token. Next, you place a qualifying NBA bet and attach the token in your bet slip. And if your bet doesn't win, you get your stake back in bonus bets. So go hard in the paint. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Two things on the way out. Let's do Kratz Hatz first. Since I forgot it yesterday, we got busy, but we clearly knew what you were wearing yesterday. It was a Pirates hat today.
Yeah. KC. You had an ex-KC guy. I was on the team. I didn't play, but I was on the team for a KC. And then we brought in Strahm, who's currently KC. Why not?
That's right. We did have the big Royals connection today. Good call. And then one move we didn't get to because, there weren't any major moves last night in terms of signings, but we covered Big Christmas. And then Justin Henry Malloy, who's been on this show before, who's actually a big FT fan, is joining up with the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tigers traded him for cash, as most Tigers fans joked. Hopefully they can use that cash on everybody's favorite, Tarek Skubal. It's not that kind of cash, guys.
No.
They didn't sell him away for millions of dollars.
And a great interview.
Justin Henry Malloy, he is. Great interview.
And Jaden Ball's back.
Who's
Run
back?
the damn ball. If you don't know who that is, I don't care, Kratz. Don't look at me like that. But Jaden Ball's back.
I don't know what that means.
I know. People out
I'll
there
look it up.
know. If you know, you know.
Google me.
It's Jadanb, by the way. Baugh.
To look it up. Wait, guests on the way out.
No.
What? Kratz just looked it up. I'm looking up our guest list real quick.
Oh, the transfer portal is so crazy to me. We got football players leaving their school and then visiting the same school in the transfer portal.
By the way, there's what was it? There's 5,000 people in the transfer portal for football. Do you think they're all going to find? Because there's also a whole crew of high school kids that is coming in.
Why don't they sign these guys to 3-year deals?
They can't. You have to go year to year.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
They should.
The whole thing is stupid.
They should fix
the whole thing is stupid. There's got to be a better way.
They should get
win.
paid, but they
like
should
I
be on
understand they should get
contracts.
paid,
Sign
but it
a
shouldn't be a
3-year deal.
bidding war,
3-year deal.
or it should be incentive based somehow.
It's a pro game now. Make it a pro game. 3-year contract.
Shouldn't be
pro
incentive
game.
based.
No, I don't think it should be incentive based.
But why do we pay a guy that sucks? I'm not paying you. You suck. In every other sport, it's incentive based.
No, guaranteed.
The schools,
contracts.
But you had to
school's
earn
already
that.
going to get the money. The school's already going to get the money. This is
we
the
don't have enough
best
time for
system
this.
ever.
More importantly, Drew Pomerantz and Anthony Kay joining us tomorrow, both signed in the last month. And then Mac
Lefty.
Pacharo, Royals extension for the manager, and Hunter Harvey, who also signed in the past few weeks, joining us on Thursday. See you tomorrow.